Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for a bit of a different video today. Now you may have noticed that my social media has been a bit dead lately. I haven't posted so much on Instagram, on YouTube, because I've been working on such a big project, and that of course is my brand new studio, which as you can see is actually a greenhouse, but I'm so happy with it and I cannot wait to show you guys all around it. So today's video is a tour of the House of Fix, as I've named it. If you Google that, you'll find out exactly why. But let's get on with it, let's get in, and let's have a look at this awesome studio. So this is my main workspace. I've got my worktop here, which I made the unit a short while ago for the other greenhouse, but I've just transferred that into this one. The top bit, I've made this bit with some hinges and a separate piece of wood. I can lift up the surface like an easel to whatever angle I want, and I simply just need to put on some bolts and a little bar at the side here so I can lock that into place. But overall that is the whole concept, so that it can work like an easel but it's also a permanent worktop surface. Because the unit is so high, I also had to fashion an appropriate chair to go with it. So I got this old dining room chair, this rather large seat cushion off of an armchair, and I've stapled that to the base of the seat just to make it a bit higher off the ground, and it is now the perfect height for the worktop. So that is where I'll be spending most of my time doing my art and busy at work. So behind the chair you can also see the cupboards that fitted in perfectly under this unit I built, and in there I've just got all of my art materials. So I've got everything from drawing materials to pyrography sets to my homemade mediums printer inks, paints, printing inks, watercolours, and this little pot of things which I like to use. So rather than using paintbrushes in my landscape paintings, I prefer to use things from the landscape itself. So I pick up things I see in the garden. So I've got a little cork thing there out of a bottle. I've got bits of bark, I've got snail shells, pine cones, etc., feathers, whatever you can think of, because I much prefer the textures these give to the standard paintbrush. It just gives an alternative feel to the painting and sort of gives it my own style, and I absolutely love that we're reusing the environment, reusing the resources around us. I absolutely love that. So that is my cupboard of resources. If I close that up, down the side here I've got little storage spaces where I've got my paper folder. These are just scraps of paper to do sketches on, concept drawings. And down here I've just got a load of random things also. They're just my sort of extra spaces. These are my pottery shelves. Now, these were an essential part of the design of this greenhouse because pottery is something I've really taken an interest in lately, as you would have noticed in my last videos where I've done the pottery kiln, I've done a bit of making, and you've seen some of it fired and stuff. So at the moment I'm experimenting with pottery glazes. I haven't quite mastered it just yet, but I'm getting there. It's my first attempt at firing some glaze in that kiln, so I'm just learning my way around that at the moment. But this is my three-tiered shelf. The top shelf is for in-progress pottery. I've got a pot of little bits here if anything breaks, or if I've got a couple of test pieces that I just want to keep safe. I am actually growing some courgettes, just starting them off there, so excuse those, but they are living there for the moment because that's the sunny spot. The second shelf down is for finished pottery projects. So you may have seen this candle holder in particular on my Instagram art account. So below that is a space not necessarily for pottery but for 3D art and craft projects. So remember the sunglasses from one of my earlier videos? Still got those. Not quite appropriate for the weather. Again, it is raining like the day I made them. That's just English weather. But that is my shelf for 3D design, as I should say. So underneath that I've got this box for miscellaneous objects, but objects that I will be using on a daily basis. So they are stored in this old-fashioned refurbished crate I did in the first lockdown. And I found this crate, it was in a poor state, didn't have a base, so I made a base for it. I put in some extra supporting brackets and bolts and stuff to give it a bit more strength, and I repainted all the lettering on it because I really liked its old-fashioned aesthetic and wanted to bring it back to life a bit. So that is my main workspace and where I will be spending most of my time in the studio. So next, let's have a look at the sides of the greenhouse. Okay, so this is the next part of the greenhouse that I want to show you. So this is a homemade drying rack. With the greenhouse came a large run of shelving that went across the whole width of it. And what I did was simply cut that up into sections and screwed it back together in a new formation. I then bolted these bits to the structure of the greenhouse so that's on there nice and tight. And there I've got 6 beautiful drying shelves. So they're in 2 different designs. One is this 2-space design at the top for larger pieces of work, such as this piece, where you can just balance it on the top there. You can use a back, you can use the 2 struts here, and it just sits nicely and dries. But for smaller pieces, that's not really appropriate, and they will fall through the gap, of course, and or bend where they're not properly supported. So I made a 3-strut structure where I've put a 3rd one in the middle, as you can, I don't know if you can see down here, but on this lower shelf here, where your piece of work can just sit across it like that, and that will do for anything down to the size of A5. But if any smaller than that, and I can always use the back of the shelf to support my work. So that is my fully functioning, very appropriate drying rack for the work I do. So there we go. That is the 3rd section of the greenhouse, and that is mostly it for my 3 main components that have transferred this greenhouse into an art space. So that is it. That is a basic tour of my new art studio, and I could not be happier with it. What I've achieved in here with the furniture is absolutely perfect, and I couldn't have asked for better. It absolutely fits my needs perfectly. Now, you may be debating the suitability of a greenhouse for an art studio, and I completely understand you there, because you may think, oh, you're going to overheat in here, your mediums are going to dry up, your paints are going to dry up, but no. I have come up with some mechanisms to allow me to control the temperature in here and make it the perfect, ideal workspace for me. So I've got the window and the door that can be opened on a hotter day to provide ventilation. They are currently open now. It's not the hottest day, but it is pretty warm. So I've got those open to allow a bit of airflow. But on this wall here, I've also got this white curtain here that runs along the whole length of the greenhouse, allowing me to block out the strongest line of sunlight and shade off the main workspace area. And that also covers my resource cupboard as well as my work surface and my chair, meaning I'm not too hot, my materials aren't too hot, and I can work at a nice comfortable pace and temperature. So that is how I have adapted a greenhouse to become my perfect workspace. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you love this space as much as I do, and I've enjoyed having to snoop around as much as I've enjoyed making it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time for another video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and do not hesitate to comment below. Also, if you really like my content and want to see more of what I do, what I'm about, go ahead and follow my Instagram account at bethany.rose_art or _photography, whichever area interests you the most. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.